Alrighty guys, this Jeep was towed in right here. No start, guys. Alrighty guys, we're in the middle of pushing this Jeep in the shop. No start. Y'all see what I got? The emergency shift override has been activated. So now I am in neutral. My shifter guy is back there pushing me. Oh yeah. I gotta put a starter on this. At least I think that's what it is. I diagnosed it. 100,000 miles. This is a 4-wheel drive, guys. So this is gonna be a pain in the yin yang. That starter is hidden. Y'all know a starter, typical starter is located, right? It has to be somewhere near the transmission because its job is to turn the flex plate or the flywheel. Let's finish getting this in the shop and we'll start the rest of this diagnosis. All right. All right, guys, we made it in, guys. Remember the shift override. Use that, guys, because it'll put you in neutral. And I got it pulled up. In order to depress it, just find you something sharp, stick right in there, push it up, and this should fall back in place. Because you're not going to start anyway with this pulled up. All right, so let's get it. Alrighty, guys. I hope y'all saw that hashtag short video. We're dealing with a no crank. So, guys, what I did was found the location of the starter relay. And you can find that based off fuse cap. Okay, the starter relay is K7. All right, so K7 is merely right here. Typical ISO relay, guys. Now, a couple of things you can do, guys. I'm one of those guys that like to cut to the chase. Remember, typical ISO relay, pin 87 usually leads to the load in question, which in this case, right here is the starter. Okay, now pin 30, which is right here, typically powered. Let's see if we even get... Yeah, y'all see that? So I got 12 volts on pin 30. Now the thinking goes, once I turn the key, if everything is there, all the inputs are there, I should go ground on pin 85. No, pin 86. And pin 85 is usually coming from, there's a ground source coming from PCM. A lot of things have to come into play to get that ground signal, such as security system, guys. The car cannot be in theft mode. In other words, it cannot detect that somebody trying to steal it. The theft mode, or that ground will never show up. Okay. Another input, in my opinion, is the transmission. If the transmission is in gear, that ground will not show up. That is a safety feature put in place by car makers to allow you not to be able to crank the car in the event that you're in gear. Makes total sense, right? Yes. So what I'm gonna do before now, you can cut all the chase out, send 12 volts straight to pin 87 and see if you hear the starter spin over. All right, I'm gonna do that, but for right now, I want to see if if my circuit is complete. And how I'm gonna do that, how I'm gonna pull that off is I'm gonna find the relay, put it back in, and I'm gonna substitute a ground or wire, jumper wire coming out of pin 87. And I'm gonna attach my test light to that wire, and I'm gonna go in and push start. If this wire light up, yes, the power source is headed down to the starter. Now, at that point, I don't know if it's getting there, or I don't know if it's getting there and the starter just not doing what it's supposed to do. But at any rate, that's where the mechanic come in at. All right, diagnostic. Okay, so I got me a jumper right here. Remember what I said, my goal is I'm gonna stab this in pin 87, merely put the relay in place, partially in place, put my test light. I don't want to see if this test light light. If the test light light, that means the core is doing its job. That means it's basically the circuit is complete. All right, I got it semi in place. Remember what we talked about? Pin 87 goes to the load, which is the starter. Test light right here, test light attached to ground. Let's go and push the start button and see if this test light. Signaling that the circuit is complete. All right, can y'all see? Now, here we go. Look at that, guys. It's lit. All right, all I did was push the start button, put my foot on the brake and push the start button. It is lit, guys. So the circuit is complete. That starter is sure, that solenoid. Remember what that wire is going to. That wire is going to the starter solenoid. Okay, that solenoid is used to, if it's activated, pull a plunger and allow the armature to grab the flywheel and the car spin over and hopefully start up. All right, the circuit is complete, guys. So let's move on to phase 2. Let's get a visual look at the starter and its wiring. See, now I can go straight to the wire connector or the solenoid connector on the starter and do the same thing. If I push this button and that wire is, I got 12 volts on it, then yeah, your starter is internally open, guys. Alrighty, guys. So remember, we just verified that the circuit is complete, right? We pulled the starter relay out and we got a jumper wire in pin 87, which goes to the load, in this case the starter. So technically, disconnecting the relay, disconnecting the complete circuit, I want to hardwire straight to the starter solenoid. Now the wire on the starter solenoid is pretty much going to the underneath of the tip-em, which goes to this port. So technically, if I stick 12 volts on this wire, I should get 12 volts at the solenoid. And remember, the starter is grounded by the block, the engine block, so it should spin over, or it should try. Let's see what happens. I'm in pin 87. Here's my jump wire. This is the hot terminal. Let's see. Nothing, guys. So I want to assume, okay, unless there's a breakage between point A and the starter solenoid, you have an open wire. But if there's no breakage, one could assume that simply the starter is defective, internally open, shorted, whatever you want to call it. It's not working. All right, so let's let the car up in the air and take a look if we can see anything obvious, guys. Yeah, might not see anything obvious, but we can see. If we don't see anything obvious, yeah, we're gonna assume the starter is just, we need to replace the starter. All right, let's get it. Alrighty, guys, I have the Jeep up in the air. I got some of the covers removed because we are looking for the starter, and guys, it is no joke. Okay, remember, this car is equipped with a 4-wheel drive. In other words, there's a differential in the front, and lo and behold, you have to remove some things. That starter is right there behind or in front of that engine support, that motor mount. So technically, I can get a better view from here. Technically, that engine motor mount will have to come out, and that bracket that bolts to the block will have to come out. It's the only way you're gonna bag out with the starter. So this job is a little harder than I anticipated. You don't really want to drop the complete drive shaft assembly, so we got to work our way around that. All right, so that mounts, she looks like we can get to that mount from here, at least the bolts. Then we got to get the bracket off the block, and then we can get to the starter. All right, so we got the diagnosis out of the way, guys. I don't see anything obvious like a wire broken, wire harness pinched, anything like that. So I'm gonna suspect that the starter is just defective. It's over 100,000 miles. So I mean, I don't know. Everybody different. Everybody have a different opinion on how long they suspect a starter should last. Starter can die at any given moment, guys, no matter if it's new or not. Okay, no matter who make it, Toyota or whatever. But we going back in with Mopar or no car. That's right, guys. We don't use none of that Derman stuff over here. They don't even make starters, do they? Wait a minute, JT, you getting off track. So guys, let me go write up this estimate. I'm gonna upload this video as the diagnosis video, and when the starter get here, we'll discuss the starter and how to get it in. Yes, because I see it's gonna be a task. All right, thanks for watching, man.